Okay, welcome back. So in the last video we of course made this design, and now I want to discuss a little bit about beveling. So in the real world, whenever you look at an actual object, it has a little bit of a curvature around the corners. Nothing is perfectly sharp, not even the blade of a knife, sheet of paper, nothing. There's always a little bit of a bevel. Take a look at your desk you're sitting on right now, or using. Around the corners you're going to see there's a little bit of a bevel. Just rub your hand against it. You can feel the roundedness there. And it just can't be perfectly sharp. It's not physically possible. So we replicate that in hard surface modeling by adding just a little bit of a bevel, and not only does it look good, it reflects the light off the corners to make it look even better. So let's go ahead and discuss how we can do that. So most of you already know how to do bevels in edit mode. You just go around to the edges you want to bevel, and you press Ctrl B, and there you have a bevel. Issue here is once you apply that bevel, you can't revert it or change the length, change how many segments there are. You can't change anything. Not to mention, for the booleans that aren't applied, you can't even bevel those and get in there. Plus, who wants to go around to every single edge and bevel all those manually? That's insane. So what we do instead, and you know, if you're experienced in Blender, you probably already know this, we use a bevel modifier to do this automatically. And we already briefly touched on bevel over here. I just wanted to give a soft introduction to that so you're familiar with it on this part. So we're just going to go in here and add a bevel modifier. And remember, like I said before, clamp overlap we usually just tick off, and it goes crazy, so we shift, click and drag, and just give it a very, very slight bevel. And already you can see the lights kind of reflecting to make it look nice. It's pretty good. Now we're going to change the limit method here to angle, and it's only going to bevel based off of this angle. So certain angles won't be beveled. You can see this captured everything quite nicely. And I'm going to turn the segments up to a value of 3 to make it even more rounded there. Now let's make sure we actually shaded this smooth. So right click and then shade smooth. And we need to turn on our auto smooth. Okay? Now if it still looks really weird, this is completely normal. You can tick on the harden normals option to clean that up. It basically, whenever you add in a bevel, the normals move with it, and the harden normals button puts them back out in the correct direction to make the shading nicer. So we just turn that on, and already you can see this thing is looking really, really good. Over here we are having a little bit of trouble. You can see those artifacts are really, really coming through, and it doesn't look that good. Now whenever I'm diagnosing issues like this with artifacts and shading, I like to go here to this orange square panel and go to wireframe, so we can look in here and see where that's occurring. So if we take a look, you can see this is occurring because this edge is intersecting with that bevel, and we could fix it by just making the bevel shorter, right to about there. That basically knocks out the issue immediately. But you can't always get away with that because sometimes the bevel is so small that it just doesn't get everything you want. So instead, what I prefer to do is keep the bevel where I want it instead of making that sacrifice. I'd rather have more bevel to make it look better and fix this area manually. So like I said, first thing I like doing when I diagnose these sorts of issues is to just look in wireframe. Now not the Z wireframe, but this wireframe right here. And then this is where, like, this is what every artist should be doing that does hard surface. I know a lot of beginners that don't. Anytime you have weird glitches, you can see exactly where they're occurring. Just tick this on. And then you can really go in here, and if you still can't tell, what I like to do is just take the offset to 0 and then slowly increment it so I can really observe when it hits. And immediately when I just drag this up, I can see these edges right here are the culprit. Look at that. These edges, once I go high, they just intersect. It's just terrible. So that's exactly where those errors are coming from. So there's a really easy solution to fixing that. So it looks like most of this problem was caused by the fact that if I select this cutter, / to isolate it, and tab into edge mode, look at the back here. It looks like I must have accidentally beveled this back area as well, which is no good. I didn't really need to do that, so I don't even remember when I did it, but you know, it's all about diagnosing issues and these things come up. So instead, since I can't unbevel these, I'm just going to tab into vertex mode. We'll just B to box select, and then I'm just going to press the X key and delete vertices. Delete those as well, and / to get out of that local view. So let's just try extruding this again. Okay, and it looks like the normals are weird because this is beveling strangely. So select everything with the A key, Shift N to recalculate those. And there we go, that's precisely what the issue was. So that was a pretty quick fix. And you know, I run into issues when I'm filming as well, and I just want to display those because, you know, not everyone's perfect, and I do want to show how you would fix it in the case someone else ran into the same problem. So that's all that issue was. So now, since this cutter has just a flat face in the back, it fixed the issue because there's no sort of intersections going on now. So perfect. Only thing I don't like is how these are kind of pinched. See that? And if you just select the piece where it's pinching and go here to the bevel modifier and change the outer miter type to arc, that'll clean it up very nicely. And there we go, everything's looking quite nice. I'm happy with it. And we could probably even adjust this bevel even more with more freedom before it has any weird glitches. You can see right there. But I don't need to go that far, just about here should be perfectly fine. Awesome, so last thing I think I'll do for this video is tab into edge mode. And I'm going to take these guys, these two edges, Control B to bevel them. We'll press C for clamp overlap, and then click. And as always, those bevels are going to produce an just a duplicate edge on the same face. So we're just going to select everything with the A key, M, and then merge by distance. That'll fix it. Now a lot of you are going to ask, well, is this actually good? Because now we have this big weird n-gon here, and it simply doesn't matter because this is a planar face and the shading is perfectly fine. It's a flat face and the hardened normals takes care of that problem, so it doesn't matter at all. Only thing that matters is this weirdness here. So my guess is we can just go to one of these edges and just slide them just a bit. Yeah, we'll just do that. So it's hard to get into a good position, so if you press period on the number pad, it'll zoom in so you can pivot better. So I'm just going to go to all these edges here, just these bottom ones, and if we grab them on the Z, or just double tap G, that should fix it. And there we go. Now you can see we have a nice rounded top there, and it's fusing to the mesh very nicely. Look at the difference here. Much better. So I guess real quick before we end this video, we can add a bevel to this piece. It should be really easy. And I'm going to show you a pretty cool trick. Rather than adding another bevel and changing all the settings again manually, if we go to Edit and then Preferences, under Add-ons and search for Copy, there's this menu called Copy Attributes. Click that, save your preferences, and now you can literally just copy the bevel modifier from this piece. We select this one, shift select this one, and then press Control C, copy selected modifiers, and we're going to copy the bevel. And then look at that. Perfect. Only thing we need to do here is make sure it's shaded smooth, and then turn on our auto smoothing. And there we go.